We'll drive through the map a bunch to do missions, sell product, check out a location, run away from friends and much more. When driving to these varying locations, there are a couple of shortcuts you can and probably have taken before. Last week I took one of them and started wondering if they even save time. And if they do, how much do they actually save? This led me to fly across the map and check out a bunch of them. And after that, test them and the non-shortcut route to answer this question. In this video I will present the shortcuts, if they save time, and if so, how much, and also if you should do them, because a lot of them have a risk factor to them. So we'll also give them a ranking based on that. So let's start off with the first shortcut of the video. So the first shortcut is on this dirt road on the foot of Mount Chiliad. Everyone has probably taken this before. As you can see, it's quite easy jump, very low risk, not much can go wrong. It's also reversible, so you can do both sides. Here you will see me doing the other side. A slight mishap. Obviously you're gonna struggle with traffic a little bit. That's why I'm gonna use, estimates of times, like, not quite super precise. But obviously a lot of these are due to traffic, and just driving around the map you have a lot of these variations. That's also why I'm using this car specifically. This is a mid-tier sports car. It's relatively fast, not too fast. So a lot of people who will drive supers will have similar-ish performance. Also driving skill obviously plays a factor, and like the lines you take. Here I'll take a very average line, and you see like that's how most people would take it if they don't really focus. So this one saves you about 2 seconds on the one side and 1 second on the other side, and it's very low risk. So you should definitely do it. So for a second shortcut we have this jump in Raton Canyon. As you can see, you skip quite a bit of road right there. But it's also quite risky. If you get to jump wrong, you crash quite easily, which isn't too bad. The problem is when you start flipping and flip over the wall, because then you get down all the way to the road, which will be quite a detour. It will drop you on a road eventually if you don't fall in the water, so it's not too big of a risk, but it will definitely take some time away. The time saving on this one is a little bit bigger than the other one, so it will be about 4 seconds, as you can see here. But the medium/high risk on this makes it not per se worth it. Maybe if you're like very confident in hitting it, sure. But most cars it won't be beneficial. For our third shortcut we have this road leading away from Fort Zancudo and towards the biker camp. As you can see, it's quite an easy jump right here. Sometimes you can hit the pole or the tree there, and then maybe even fall in the water. So I ranked this in the end low/medium risk, because it's quite control, and also with slower vehicles definitely like super easy. But the thing that I found out is that you actually don't save time. In this clip actually I was like a split second faster in the non-shortcut, but due to driver error or whatever, it's about the same, so you don't actually save time. So it's not worth doing it, but it's definitely fun. For our fourth shortcut we have this road leading from Fort Zancudo towards the city, and here on this little intersection you just go straight instead of taking the road. It kind of seems intended because the curvature of the hills kind of suits it really nice. It's very low risk. Even if you miss the ideal line a little bit, you only just lose like 1 or 2 seconds, and even if you spin out a bit, it's basically no risk. You don't even scratch your car, which is really nice. As you can see here, otherwise you have to take this road, drive all the way around, brake here because it's a very tight corner, and then go into this with like slight cornering as well. And in the end you will see it saves you about 4 seconds, which is pretty substantial, especially for such a short little section right there, and it's super low risk, so definitely always do this. This is a road taken often, so please just do it. It's definitely worth it. For our fifth shortcut we have this tiny little shortcut on the downhill from the Observatory. You just cut it right here. You can also do it uphill, but that's about the same. It's a very tiny one, saves you about 1 second in the end. I was debating whether I rank this low or medium risk, because there is quite a risk that if you jump into traffic. But the thing is, if you go around it, you also have that risk quite high. So that's why I ended up doing low risk for this one, because you still have the risk if you take a normal route. So you can do it. If you go a bit slower, also works. With slower cars, this is definitely advisable. For the 6th shortcut, we have an interesting jump into the LS Customs. I use this all the time just because I think it's really fun. You just cut here and then go here. This jump is medium quality. Sometimes it goes better, sometimes it goes way worse. If it goes worse, it's not too bad usually, and you're gonna repair your car afterwards anyways. So that's why it's not high risk. But the success rate is not always that great, and obviously traffic can block you quite easily, as you see there as well. And as I found out in this testing, you actually lose time. So if you do a nice job here, you actually gain 2 seconds. Maybe if you have like a perfect jump, it will be about the same, or maybe only a second. So yeah, it's definitely not worth it. I only do it for fun, to be honest. But yeah, if you're trying to save time, don't do it. It's not worth it. For our 7th shortcut, we have a very nice one. If you're coming from the casino and want to go to the downtown area, you just cut right here, land onto the highway, and there you are. You can go onto the other highway right there. You can go to the left, but I just right here because this is a more often used route if you want to go to downtown or whatever. As you can see, it's quite effective, especially compared to the alternative. So the alternative, you have to go right here, dealing with more traffic. Traffic once again here. Obviously this could have been a little bit faster if there was less traffic, but that's not realistic. This was a relatively decent run. See, I even had to cut there a little bit. But yeah, without traffic would have maybe made it be like a second faster. But in this case it was actually 5 seconds slower. There was one other one. I kind of want to combine these shortcuts because I use this quote-unquote shortcut quite a lot. It's the grass one here. In this case I hit it decent-ish. As you can see, could be better, but could be worse. In this case actually didn't save time over the normal route. So the overall time save on the first one is actually 5 seconds. It's very low risk. Yes, you can crash into a car in the highway, but you also have that risk in the normal route. And even if you crash, I think you probably still save a second or two. For the 8th shortcut, we have this one everyone has used, obviously, because this one is such a no-brainer. I wasn't even sure what the alternative route was. As you can see, I set a waypoint and kind of followed that. So obviously you could cut the grass right there, but it's also kind of shortcutty. But yeah, if you took the proper route, you would go all the way around here, and yeah, it will result in a very big time loss. Also, you can alternatively take like a left corner there if you want to go more towards that direction, because in the end, that's kind of waypointing, like when you're doing this. But in this case, I use this bridge as the marker. And that loses you about 19 seconds, and it's very low risk. So yeah, like I said, it's a no-brainer, just do it. Maybe if you don't want to damage your car, but just do it. For the 9th shortcut, we have this cheeky little one on the highway. As you see, you go here, and then you go onto this road, and then you can go onto there. It's a little bit risky, because you can overshoot it quite easily, and then you land just somewhere else on the highway, or you undershoot it and you will end up on the grass patch. But I didn't class it as high risk or medium risk, because even if you fail, you kind of end up on the highway, which is a very accessible road, which brings you to all parts of the city. So it's not too bad. As you can see, the alternative is quite long, so it's definitely worth it. As you can see also the timer, it's about 14 seconds. So yeah, it's low to medium risk, 14 seconds, so it's definitely worth it. For the 10th shortcut, we have this little jump onto the highway, or almost the highway. Normally you would go right, but instead you cut to the left here and take this little jump right here, and then you go to the highway. Obviously this is a fairly heavily used route, as a lot of people have a bunker up here, or you want to go to Fort Zancudo, or let's say Paleto Bay even. So yeah, the alternative route is going to be right and going around. The jump is kind of risky. As you can see, there's a lot of, you know, like lanterns and street signs, and even like the jump itself has those barriers which kind of mess up your jump sometimes. So it's quite, I would say, definitely medium risk. Obviously if you crash, you probably will lose time because you only save 2 seconds. But if you have a good jump, you will save a little bit more, I guess, but even then, not that much. And also, the route is not that efficient because, well, if you take the normal route, like this, you save even more seconds. You save like 4 seconds over those, and even carry more speed, so eventually it's more like 5 seconds. But I guess the shortcut is mostly for if you miss that first opportunity, or if you have someone chasing you, I guess. But then again, like I said, time save only about 2 seconds. For our 11th shortcut, we have this little gap in the wall at the red garage. Also, once again, a very highly used spot. Here you can see you can go here, or you can also go towards downtown more. Well, and if you take the alternative route, well, you have to go around here, then you have to deal with traffic and this thing. You know, even if that I didn't hit that, maybe saved a second, but you know, the general time is still about the same. Yeah, so this jump is really low risk, and you save about 20 seconds. You can see the time here racks up to like 25, 26 seconds. So yeah, time save is insane on this one. And also, if you ever come from the wrong direction, you can do like a nice little jump into red garage. This is not really useful, so I don't have a timer here, but just a little trick I wanted to share. So yeah, definitely do this one. Huge time save. Even if you crash, it's still a 15 or 10 second time save or whatever, and the chance you crash on the other one is also quite big. For our 12th spot, we have this little jump on the highway, which brings you into like the airport or maybe the hood area, depending what you do. You can either brake here, or you can take the second jump or go straight if there's traffic. Either way, will you be on that road or on the other road in around 10 seconds. If you don't take that, you will go left, and then you will have to do some ghost driving in a second. Here you have to brake, and then have to turn around here, then have to go against traffic, which is quite risky. As you will see in a second, I will just straight up head into another car. I calculated like a second off if that didn't happen, but it's a realistic chance that will happen, so you will lose about 14 seconds. And it's medium risk because you can obviously still hit weird things. Even I hit like the little barrier, but it went alright. But yeah, it's definitely still worth doing it if you need to be there. For our 15th spot, we have this nice little jump in the port area. In this low area, you kind of get sometimes for missions or whatever free mode event. As you can see, you jump relatively slow, and you can turn around here. You can also go other directions, but I decided to go for that direction because that's the general direction of most things in the game. The alternative is to go all the way around, which obviously takes a little bit longer. In the end, I saved about 5 to 6 seconds, but I think it could be even better if you get the jump down a bit better. I classified this jump as low risk because yes, you can potentially crash out quite bad, but if you go just slow and controlled, not a lot can really go wrong. So in the end, it's like an easy jump you should definitely take. For our 14th shortcut, we have this jump, which is quite risky. This is a stunt jump a lot of us probably have done while trying to get all stunt jumps, and failed many times. You can either hit like the things on the side, which is really annoying, or you can hit some building there, or like some obstacle, or even fall in the water, which is even worse, resulting in a huge time loss. Like falling in the water is like a minute time loss basically, maybe even more. Crashing also significant seconds. And going around actually isn't that much slower. In this test, I got a relatively good run. Have to slow down a little bit here before this truck, but in the end I was half a second, maybe a second slower, but I carried way more speed, so it's really not worth it. It's only a second, it's really high risk. Yeah, just don't do it. For 13th, just kidding, 15, we have this little jump, which is similar to the last one, as it is the same kind of jump trailer. So you still have the same risks of hitting the sides, which can happen quite often also if you have bigger cars. And as you can see, the jump itself, I got onto the side a little bit, so you have to risk, if you hit it wrong, to fall off. So I'll give it a medium risk because of that jump container especially. And also, here you see the normal route. You kinda get like a similar-ish time. So it's maybe a second time save if you do it right. So is it worth it? Nah, probably not. Too many risk and not enough time save. For our 16th shortcut, we have one that, I'm gonna spoil it, is not really a shortcut. You know, you think, oh, I jump here, great. Obviously in my attempt here, I'll hit the wall and have to back up. But that's because I took a lot of speed, because if you take too little speed, you risk falling in the water, which is a huge time loss. So it's also a very high risk strategy. So let's say I did a perfect job there, might have saved a couple seconds, obviously. But as you can see in the timer here, if I go to the left here, if I go to the right, I'm already saving time here massively, but here I come like 3 seconds earlier. So you have a 3-second time loss actually on the shortcut. And it's very high risk, so just avoid doing this. Just do this for the stunt jump once, or if you want to have fun with friends, but don't do it to save time. For our 17th shortcut, we have this nice little jump across the water into whatever kind of chute this is. I think it's like a dirt drop-off chute. Well, not dirt, but something. You can see it on the boat in a second. Well, you drop on here. This one was a little bit sloppy. You can obviously land it a bit better, but often you land it way worse. That's why I also classified this as high risk. It's really high risk. You can fall in the water, you can fall on that boat thing, you can crash into the trailer structure, you can get off the like little ramp thingy, and then you fall next to it and you have to drive all the way around. So it's really high risk. The time save is somewhat good. In this clip, like obviously the clip before the jump was not ideal, so I saved like 6-7 seconds. I chose for 7 seconds because you can definitely do a jump a lot better. But also you carry a lot more speed going this route, so if you want to go back there you actually save even less time. So I wouldn't recommend it. It's too high risk. You only save about 7 seconds. Not really worth it. Maybe if you do a speedrun or something, but in a normal scenario, just going around the map, definitely not worth it. For 18 shortcut, we have quite a simple one. Just this little gap in the wall. You get onto the highway, and on the highway you can go whatever direction you want. I chose for this direction. You can go into the right way. You know, it's just very efficient. If you go the other way, you have to go all the way to this garage. Probably crash into that. You can also not crash into it, but you know, whatever. Then you have to deal with traffic here and then go around. Here I choose for the first right, but you can also go straight if you want to go to the bridge. You know, a little bit more direct route. But in essence, lose you about 16 seconds. That's what I noted. Can also save you a little bit less, but still it's gonna be like 10, 12, 16 seconds. And it's so low risk, you should definitely just do it. It's a no-brainer. For our 19 shortcut, we have one right next to the previous one. It's right here on this little gap in the wall at the hospital as well. So the first method you can grind on that little street sign thing, which is really cool. When I found this out, I was like, I did it by accident, and it's really just really cool. I didn't do it perfect there, so if you look at the time, the second clip actually is like half a second faster than the first one. Also probably a little bit easier, but I like the first one way more because it's just so cool. Also you see I have a little bit better line here, so they're about the same time. Maybe if you do the cool one a little bit better, it can be potentially half a second faster, but I would just say same time. But compared to the normal route, both of them are just massively quicker. As you can see here, the other one you would have already been on the intersection. Also at 19 seconds you were already at the end point. We still have to get there, it's quite a long way out. So the time save in the end is about 12 seconds for both methods. Also a little cool grind here. That was really cool. I thought I had to do it again, but I didn't. So in the end, it's relatively low risk. Even if you crash, you can recover within those 12 seconds and still have time save. So definitely do it. For our 20th shortcut, we have a double one, so you can use this both sides, and a lot of people do. This is a very commonly used one. You probably recognized it. You also recognize it from stunt jumps, doing like backflips with a truck on it. It's a very famous one. If you go from the airport to anywhere, it's basically always used. As you can see, they're ending with like 18 seconds. And the alternative is not great. In the end, it's a time loss of about 16 seconds, and it's so low risk, even if you crash or whatever. Not worth it. You can also go to the parking area there, but it's like quite turny, so I guess it would be about the same time. Even if it would be faster, it would be only like a second or two faster. So the time save is still there, regardless if you take this longer route or the more twisty route to the parking lot there. As you can see, ends at like 30-ish seconds, 33, 34, so like 16 seconds time loss. So yeah, and then the other way you have to jump down, which you can combine with this low cut through the parking lot there, which is beautiful, carrying a lot of speed into the airport. If you want to go to the airport through actually the next shortcut, no spoiler ahead, you take about 16, 17 seconds. And if you decide to take the normal route, you also have to do some ghost driving, which is not amazing. It's actually more risky than the shortcut, which is quite interesting. Even if you crash in a shortcut, it's still a shortcut. This second one actually saves less time, I guess because you carry more speed and you drive less around. So it's about 6 seconds, but it's still like quite worth doing it. So yeah, in the end, 16 seconds for the uphill one and 6 seconds for the downhill one, and it's very low risk. You should definitely just do it. So for our 21st and final shortcut, we have the airport jump, a classic. Everyone has done it. It's a sun jump, very classic, and you know, you get into the hangar. Like, I chose the location because there's plane spawns often, so it's a very logical thing to do. I can also look at like the straight line speed if you want to go straight. They arrive about at the same time. This one carries a little bit more speed, but they arrive here about half a second earlier, and the sun jump wasn't that perfect, so if you perfect it you can maybe squeeze out a second. But yeah, it's very low risk, very little time save, so do it if you want, do it if you don't want, doesn't matter. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And also, if you know any more spots, please let me know in the comments, and maybe I will make a part 2 if I get a lot of suggestions. Thank you for watching.